Hey, Hillside. So, I want to share you a little story and then some scripture that has to do with rest. It's a common topic. We love to talk about it here at Hillside because it's really important to us, having Sabbath rest built in to our daily lives and daily routines. So, the story goes there are two men, and they were chopping wood next to each other. They're chopping wood all day long. Well, one of the men, the first man, he he took a break a couple times and rested. And the other guy just kept chopping all through the day, all day long. At the end of the day, the first man, the one who had rested, had more wood chopped than the second man. And so the second man said to him, "How is it that you took a break or took a couple breaks and I kept chopping all day, yet you have more wood chopped than I do?" And the first man said, "Simple. Every time I rested, I sharpened my axe." And so I love this illustration, right? When we're resting, it's not just rest. Like, he didn't just rest, just sit down purposefully, which possibly could have been good for him too, because then you go back more energized and you are more efficient, right? So that could even have helped. But no, he also sat and intentionally took rest to sharpen his axe when it needed to, so that when he went back, he didn't have to work as hard, which also made him efficient. So now he was rested and had a better tool. And there's a verse in Ecclesiastes 10:10, that even says, "If the iron is blunt and one does not sharpen the edge, he must use more strength. But wisdom helps one to succeed." So it is wise to sharpen our tools, so to speak, and so that we don't have to exert as much of our strength, or we're sharpened. So I thought about us, taking rest, intentional rest. That's like what Sabbath rest is, right? To sharpen ourselves so that we're equipped to go back to work, to do whatever it is God's calling us to do. And I thought about, and so if we're the axe in this case, or iron, so what sharpens us? Well, a classic one, Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpens iron and one man sharpens another. So there's a community aspect to it, a relationship. Now, it's not just anyone, because some people drain you, right? So for each of us, it's going to be different. What is an intentional act of rest that sharpens you to go back? And, we've had some really stacked weeks. Cole's had a lot going on with school, picking up and army things, and he has felt a little bit, like I could tell a couple days ago, just drained, and the motivation wasn't there because he's working so hard. And it's something that isn't necessarily his, sitting down and just hammering out work is not necessarily what he's wired to specifically, or energy giving for him, right? And so, and I had shared this kind of with him the week prior. And so then I thought, what would sharpen, and so as he was like resting one day, I said, "What would sharpen your axe?" And a lot of times for him, it's like doing something fun or just something different with me, where we're just talking, engaging in something silly. Like, that is like life-giving to him, just spending time with me doing something fun, right? And so I said, "What's your schedule tomorrow?" And it's your class schedule. And I thought, what if we met at this coffee shop between your classes? And so we did that yesterday. We met between his classes, and we just talked. We nerded out, which we also love. We both like to geek out about things. So we were nerding out about some biology things, some health things, and loved it. And afterwards I said, "Do you feel sharpened?" and so he's like, "Oh yeah." And he said, "Spending time with you is better Sabbath rest than video games." And I said, "That's right. You're dang right?" So just taking that time, what is intentional rest to sharpen you? And then he went back, to school, studied hard, and is working today, and just has that re-energized, right? He took time to sharpen his axe. So what is that for you? What does it look like for you? What is intentional Sabbath rest, where you are sharpening your sword or your axe, and noticing when it is getting dull, when you're having to work harder than you should have to work to do what you're doing? That's all I have for you today, and we'll see you next time, Hillside.